Welcome to Crypto Global News. We're about to break down what we are calling the Great Economic Deception.
And let's get right to it. Ignoring this one signal could completely wipe out your savings in the next 2 years. I'm not exaggerating, the stakes are that high.
Now here's the crazy part. The media, they're telling you every single day that the economy's booming, right? But the real data, the numbers they don't want you to see, it shows things are actually worse than they were back in 2008. Way worse.
But there is a way through this mess, and by the end of this explainer, you are going to understand the one strategy the big institutions are using right now to protect their own wealth.
All right, let's dive into part 1, the Great Economic Deception. We're going to peel back the layers and show you exactly why the official numbers you're being fed are a complete lie.
Let's just call it what it is. The US government is gaslighting you. Seriously, they are trying to sell you on a reality that just isn't real, all while the economy for regular people, well, it's fallen apart.
And here's the proof. You have to look past the headline numbers they flash on TV. You got to focus on this right here, the U6 unemployment rate. Yeah, this is the one they never talk about because it's the real number. It counts everyone who's just given up looking for a job and all the people who are underemployed, stringing together a couple of part-time gigs just to get by.
And look at this chart. This isn't just some little blip on the radar. What you're seeing is a clear, steady spike upwards in that U6 rate. This is the signal. This is a working-class recession, and it is happening right now, whether they admit it or not.
So what does this all mean? It means we're living in a tale of two completely different economies. You've got the haves, right? The top 1%. They're busy pumping stocks to all-time highs. And then you have the have-nots. That's the other 99% of us, facing a hidden and frankly brutal recession.
Now, all this weakness here at home, it makes the US incredibly vulnerable to shocks from the outside. And that brings us to part 2, Japan's slow poison. This is the global trigger that could literally drain the entire market.
The media? They sold you a total lie. Remember when they said the carry trade unwind was over? That whole thing where investors borrow yen for practically nothing to buy up other assets? Well, they were wrong. The truth is, it's only just getting started.
Just look at this timeline. This isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. The Bank of Japan is on a very clear multi-year mission to hike rates. Their target is 1.5% by 2027. They are slowly, methodically turning off the cheap money spigot that's been flooding the global economy for decades.
And here's why that is so important. As Japan's rates go up, holding yen becomes way more attractive. So what happens? Money starts flowing out of US assets and flooding back into Japan. This is going to systematically drain liquidity, cash, right out of the US dollar system for the next 2 years. And that is going to put a ton of pressure on our markets.
Okay, so how are the big Wall Street players reacting to this giant liquidity crisis that's on the horizon? Well, that leads us straight into part 3, Wall Street's crypto game. We're going to look at exactly how they're playing this whole situation to their own advantage.
I bet you've been asking yourself this question. How come stocks are flying to all-time highs, but Bitcoin, the whole crypto market, is just chopping sideways, slowly bleeding out? It makes no sense, does it?
Well, this right here is what we're calling the manipulation paradox. Just look at the data. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF has had massive inflows. We're talking billions. And yet, the price of Bitcoin is actually negative. How is that even possible?
It's possible because they are controlling the price. The game is simple, really. They patiently dump on every little rally that retail investors create, and then they scoop it all back up at the bottom. See, they don't want a bull run just yet. Nope, they want to accumulate your crypto as cheaply as they possibly can.
And that brings us to the final piece of this whole puzzle, a huge political catalyst. Part 4, the hyperinflation trump card. This is the event that could kick off the entire endgame.
Now, the analysis points to a massive political variable here, the chance of a new administration putting a ton of pressure on the Federal Reserve. For instance, there's been a promise to appoint a new Fed chair who's going to lower interest rates by a lot. And this is a huge risk factor. It doesn't matter who's in charge.
So let's just think this through for a second. What happens when you've got an economy that's already struggling, inflation that just won't go away, and then you pour gasoline on that fire by slashing rates and printing trillions of new dollars? What do you think happens?
You get this, hyperinflation. And I'm not just talking about high inflation like we've seen, I'm talking about a total, complete breakdown in the value of the dollar itself.
This is the end game scenario. Your money in the bank, your savings, your paycheck, it all becomes basically worthless. The whole system just devolves into chaos. And in an environment like that, hard assets, things they can't just print more of, that becomes your only protection.
Look, this is the kind of deep dive we do here at Crypto Global News. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, you need to smash that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon so you don't get left behind in all this chaos.
And listen, to get uncensored updates like this before anyone else sees them, you have to join my Telegram channel. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen, right now, or use the link down in the description.
But here's the thing. The big institutions, they know this is coming, and they're using all this chaos to load up on one specific type of asset. In our next explainer, the one right there on your screen, we're going to reveal exactly what that asset is. Go ahead and click it.
Stay ahead in the crypto market. Subscribe now for the latest global news and updates.